I'm going to try something I've never attempted before. Here goes nothing. Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how I built this small engine house using this kit from the Pikestuff Kitbasher series. This is my second time building a locomotive shed using Pikestuff. If you want to see how the first one turned out, there's a link down below to the video. Before I start, I replaced my X-Acto knife with a fresh blade. This is tough plastic and I will be making cuts without manufactured scored lines. Then I empty the bag and take a quick inventory. I get familiar with the pieces, count them, feel them, become one with them. Next, I lightly sand the rough edges using a nail file. Now that the prep is done, I can start building. The sides are 3 panels long and there are 2 of each. 2 right pieces, 2 left pieces, and 2 middle pieces. You can tell by the top edges. The ends are 1 panel each, and as far as I know, they are identical. Time to cut some entrances. This is where your sharp knife will come in handy. Both the front and back panels do not have score lines for a large loco entrance. The panels do come with small human door entrances, outlined so that's easier to cut, but I had to cut my own entrance for the locomotive. Hence Kitbasher series. Luckily, the kit comes with a frame for a large entrance, so I traced that and cut out the piece. I'll keep this piece later for test painting. I then cut a small door next to the large opening. This will be the main entrance for humans. I want another entrance on the side, so I cut a door in one of the side panels. To affix the side panels, I line them up with a straight edge and glue down these provided white strips. I put the pieces together to see what it looks like, and I do not like what I see. I managed to somehow put both doors beside each other. But don't worry, I can fix it. I just ordered another kit. Just kidding. I noticed that the kit came with a garage door, so I just made the existing door frame wider to fit the garage door. This door will be used for the lawn tractor or other equipment that trained people use. The last shed I built, I used Jensen's techniques.
I'm Jason Jensen.
And the results turned out great. So I will be doing the same here. First I take my saw and rough up all 4 sides. This is an old building and I want to show wear and tear. All I do is drag the saw along the panels. Then I take my hobby knife and cut out divots, take chunks out, dig small holes, etc. And as I was doing this, I was imagining what created these dings and dents. Maybe some punk kids threw rocks at the walls. Or maybe a storm hit. Or maybe someone misfired during shooting practice. Again, this building has been around a long time, so it's been through a lot. One storyline I'm rolling with is that there used to be a sign that hung above the main entrance. It either fell down or was taken down, but you can still see the holes it left behind. The last thing I do before paint is poke small holes along the top and bottom to model nail holes, as if strips of lumber were nailed up for walls. Again, I'll be referring to Jason Jensen for paint colors.
I'm going to show you how to make plastic look like wood.
I'm using raw umber, antique gold, desert sand, and neutral gray. I want the look of old wood. Before I start, I tape down my pieces, making it easier to paint. I can also easily move this set off to the side to dry and work on something else. And now I'm going to try something I've never attempted before. I'm going to mix paint colors. Usually what I would do is paint one color on the plastic, then go over it in spots with another color, and so on and so forth until I get my desired result. But I trust Jason Jensen, and here goes nothing. I'm keeping it lighter for now because I can always go darker later. It's a little harder to do the opposite. Okay, I must say, I really do like how these walls turned out. Using burnt sienna and black, I'm going to add some rust marks and moldy areas. Now the wood looks weathered. Jason likes to add a black wash, but I still haven't mastered the black wash technique, and I don't think this needs it. So I'm going to skip that step. Once everything dries, I turn the pieces around and paint the insides black. This was suggested to me by a viewer for my last build, and it really does make a difference. I paint the doors dark brown, again making them look like wood. And I paint the garage doors silver. I took some parchment paper cover the hole in the door where glass would usually go. I'm hoping this gives it a frosted glass look. Again, to keep with the storyline, I made sure the paint color was lighter in this area where the sign used to hang. Let's take a break from painting and work on the roof, or as Lily calls it, the roof panels come with 2 score lines, which means you can make different size roofs. I select the size I want and cut with my knife. There are 6 panels altogether. The panels are held together the same way the walls are, the white strips provided. The middle of the roof threw me for a loop because each piece has a little stub sticking out on one end. I couldn't figure out why. If I cut them off, it would be too short, so I left them and hoped for the best. One mistake I did make, which I didn't make last build, is that I used the incorrect pieces to glue these middle roof pieces together. You're supposed to use the white strips, just like the walls and the roof panels, but I used something else. More on that later. I then glued the roof panels to the middle piece and it does not line up. What the heck? For some reason, probably the manufacturer's fault. I mean, it's definitely not user error, but for some reason there is a small gap at the end. If you look closely, you can see the roof lines don't match up. So to fill the gap, I just glued a small scrap of plastic on the end. Once it's painted, no one will notice. Hopefully. To paint the roof, I'm using the same colors as my last shed roof, and that is 1 coat of neutral gray and then a coat of sterling silver to give the illusion of a tin roof. Finally, I dry brushed some rust streaks with burnt sienna. Voila, my roof is good to go. Just a few more things before I put this whole thing together. I painted the local entrance trim gray, glued it on, and then dry brushed some dirt and soot marks on the garage door to weather it up. Okay, all I gotta do now is glue the 4 walls together. You really should add some lights. He'll do it later. It's easy to add lights. I know him. If he doesn't do it now, he'll never do it. Isn't that right, Mark? Well, I mean, I could do it next summer. That's the spirit. Do it later. Just wait. Remember the last time you waited to do something? Okay. I'll add lights right now. I like to use the Woodland Scenics N-scale gooseneck lights over doorways. To install them, I drill a small hole above the doors using my hand drill. Then I carefully feed the light's wires through the hole and superglue the light in place. Learning from experience, I will not be using the light wires under my layout. They are too thin and fragile. Instead, what I do is I attach bigger wires with solder. So what I'm doing here is taping the bulk of the light wire to the inside of the shed using black electrical tape. Each door will get a light, including the garage door. I ran out of gooseneck lights and thought I'd try something different for the largest entrance. Instead of a light on the outside, why not have an interior light? I built a support using scrap pieces and glued the Woodland Scenics light onto it. This light came with one of the sets I purchased a while ago. Now I can assemble the walls. I don't have any fancy kit building trays or magnets, so I just used a square piece of plastic as a guide and glue the 4 sides together. It's pretty straightforward. There we go, one roofless engine house with 4 lights, which hopefully work because I forgot to test them. Ever since I burnt myself with the soldering iron, I've been a little bit nervous to go back to soldering. Well, not as nervous as Lily is of Bernard, though.
About half an hour, and I'm so excited. This is something that I really want to start doing every month. Have a featured modeler come in and...
This task is tedious, but if you ask me, so worth it. My good friend Dave Co gave me this idea. I soldered larger wires onto the thinner light wires. Then I soldered 2 lights onto 1 wire. That way I can plug 2 lights into 1 port on the Woodland Scenics Just Plug hub. And thankfully all the lights work. Phew. I find the right spot for the engine house and make sure a locomotive can go in and out with ease. To keep the shed from shifting, I place some thumbtacks in the corners. Then I drill the holes for the light wires. These will run under the layout to the hub. Another quick test shows me that all the lights work, but I noticed that the inside light was really bright, so I did some rewiring. The 3 door lights now share 1 port on the hub, and the interior light stands alone so that I can dim it. As you can see, there is some light bleed at the bottom, but that will be covered with scenery. eventually. I added a cement floor using foam and Woodland Scenics concrete paint. I also added some small details. And then I glued on the roof. Looks pretty good. No light bleed and no... Wait a second. What the... How did this happen? I am very pleased with how this small engine house turned out. The paint, the lights, I mean the whole look is just what I wanted. One thing I forgot to film was the addition of these vents. These sit on the slanted plates that I used to affix the middle roof parts together. Luckily I saved a few from my previous Pikestuff build. I gotta say, I really do enjoy watching Jensen's trains because in the video I watched, he doesn't use an airbrush or spray paint, he just uses a paintbrush and acrylic paint, and that's my speed. I'll put a link to his video down below. Well, the maintenance yard now has a focal point and I am very eager to add more. More scenery, access roads, lights, a rip track, and ballast, eventually. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care. So, when you gonna balance your trap? Ballasting is hard. Where I'm from, it's used as torture. Yeah, that's true. It can be tough. Just don't eat the ballast this time. I have no idea what you're talking about. I gotta say, I really do enjoy watching Jensen.